We are back, ladies and gentlemen, YouTube family, Twitch family. Hope you guys enjoy our breakdown discussion for episode 84, which is technically episode 25. We're about to go into it. It's full of spoilers, so just be forewarned. How you gentlemen feeling? Ty, Ant, welcome.
I'm good. I'm good.
Let's just go ahead and dive right into it. What did you guys pull from this episode? Because I'm not even gonna say if you ask. I'm not gonna ask you if the episode's good or not. I mean, all AOT generally is good, but what did you pull from this episode? Ty, you want to go first?
Yeah, this is I'm still a little confused about the opening of this episode, but basically the rest of the episode was like, let's just air out all the dirty laundry.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if we're gonna go save the world, we might as well not have any secrets or anything inhibiting us, and that's basically what it was. It was basically like folks getting called out, read to fill all the tea. Like they just laid everything out. Like folks was throwing shots and folks was throwing shots back. So it was, I mean, it all ended out where Reiner basically got his face, punched in, and Gabby took a swift kick, which I'm still perfectly fine with, because she's been needing to catch an L since she killed Sasha, so I'm still good. But it was a filler episode. This is probably the one episode I can say is a definitive filler episode, but it's a good filler episode because it's getting the main crew who are supposed to try to stop Eren, getting all their stuff out the way, because like we always say, when there's a bigger problem than the little beefs between individuals, everybody can mount up and address it together. So this is just them getting all that out the way. So I liked it.
Right. What about you, Ant?
Yeah, man. Definitely that one. God, I never remember her name with the bowl cut. The blonde chick with the bowl cut.
Oh, Annie?
Yelena?
No, not Annie. Yelena. Yeah.
Yelena.
She was basically the catalyst to everybody just putting their cards down. She just called everybody out, and when it came to, she ended up getting called out her dang self, and it was just like there was nobody there who had any sins left unsaid one way or the other way, which is good for movement, good for moving the plot forward. I tell you one dope thing about AOT is even when they give you a bona fide filler episode, they do it at the right time. They do it in a timing where you realize that this is such a huge thing that has just started to happen, and that it has this spidering effect all over the world, all over Paradise and even beyond. And you get that in all of the episodes that's happened since the beginning of the Rumbling, which has been about 4 or 5 episodes now.
This will be the 4th episode from that episode. Yeah.
Right. And you basically, what it does is give gravity to the event that happened already. If you didn't understand how important that thing was, all of these other things are spiraling out, and it kind of helps you understand, like, this is how much it's truly changed. Like we say, change the world, but this is like, no, this is for real about to change the world. And these people are for real about to try to get themselves together, get past their grievances and mount up.
Right. Man, this is going to be weird for me. Because I wanted to touch on what did y'all pull from the episode without saying if you liked it or not. For me, I think the episode was good, but I didn't really. How do I put this? I think I may have spent way too much time in the filler section of this because now it's starting to feel like I'm kind of worn out. Like, I think all this is really important and digestible, and it's all gonna lay a big effect later. But because presumably it's only 3 more episodes left, I'm like, my head goes like, I need us to get to here now, like at this point. And that's kind of how I'm really feeling. But it's not to say that this episode wasn't good, because it closes all the loops. All the different things that you were kind of worried about or concerned about from what people did before or after and in between. The only thing you don't know, and Yelena even though she aired everybody else's dirty laundry out there, she didn't air hers out. She never spoke on the sins that she created with Zeke and with Aaron. John called her on it, but she deflected by putting everybody else's stuff out there, which I think that narratively wise, that's the best thing I felt like was like, oh, okay, there's a lot there with Yelena. But for me personally, I'm starting to feel like overwhelmed and kind of ran down with the amount of content we're getting in context just in this section. And it's like, I need them to kind of progress this because I'm worried this is not going to, we don't have enough episodes for this to be justified. I feel like, how can you not rush through the rest of this? And I might be wrong. And I wish they would have just given us how many episodes are going to be left so I don't feel like that. And I don't know if you guys feel like that in any way, shape, or form, but that's kind of how I'm at. Like before, I was kind of like, yo, this is important. This is important. I need this. This is good. But I just saw probably one of the best movies I've seen in years, The Batman. And that movie was 3 hours long, excellently paced, but there was no filler in between scenes. And so like, I've been on this Batman high of like progression, progression, progression. And all of this is progression for the characters, but not necessarily the baseline narrative. And I don't know, y'all can comment on that. Like, how did y'all feel about the episode? And I guess even to what I'm speaking towards, y'all can let me know y'all's thoughts.
So, okay, so I'm gonna just jump in here. So AOT has not changed their process or progress since the beginning. Right. Every episode they provided, whether it be filler or whether it be action, has been justified in some way, shape, or form. They're telling a story. And they're not doing it in 3 hours. They've done it in three and they've done it in 3.5. Let's just say almost 4 full seasons. That gives you more room to breathe and more room to appreciate it. While I understand, the whole Batman thing, the thing about it is this ain't Batman. This is Attack on Titan, and this has always been a slow burn. And my thing is, do we want what we want and then we're away for like a week or two because of what they've promoted and said on the internet, where the next episodes probably won't be for another week or two? Or do we want this right here and we go in with the knowledge that next episode and every episode after that is probably just going to bombard us with everything that we want? They're not going to come off pace. And to be honest, if anybody really feels a particular way about it, the manga's done. You can always go read it that way. I don't want to read the manga yet because I want to finish this out in its entirety, knowing I haven't read the manga, and then I can go back and read the manga. But for now, just let it. Like I said, it was a filler episode. I think it was warranted. I mean, do I prefer that to the action and stuff that we're used to? No, but I understand they're coming up to the end, and every time you're coming up to the end of something, you're building the crescendo. You're building it up. So let them build it, and then I'm sure when it all comes out, we'll either really appreciate them for it, or we'll treat this like the anime version of Game of Thrones. So it's really all up to what they do.
And what you thought? What your thoughts on the episode? How you really felt about the episode?
Overall pacing, yeah, like I said again, it's filler, definitely. And like I've always said, they find ways to ratchet and tighten the screws. Like sometimes it's tension, sometimes it's just what you now know all the characters know, which isn't quite tension. It's just that everybody knows where everybody stands on what this situation is. And the crazy part was that it was done all around Hanji's daggone soup, daggone stew or whatever. But let's not forget that, like, we have seen their pacing through these seasons. Like, they have a filler gear, but then they also have this gear of action, especially like the last action-packed episode we had. It was almost too much.
Right.
Like when they feel like ratcheting it up and hitting you with, okay, these are the last episodes or the last couple of episodes, I feel like they can give you all that you need. They can tie up all of these things and maybe even just like this episode, jump right in, no intro, just boom, action. In fact, the last action-packed episode we had, I think they kind of jumped straight in
without any kind of intro. Yeah.
No, not at all. Like I think somebody pretty much got shot in the first 3 seconds. We were like, what's going on? So, if there's anybody I trust in their pacing, it's them right now.
Yeah. No, I feel you on that. I could never knock that down. Like it's always been a payoff. It's always been a payoff. I think I'm just really concerned about how many episodes they have left. So I just looked on the report, and supposedly next Sunday, they still are having an episode.
Okay.
So I don't know if that means now. Okay, so we had 3 episodes left. It means after next week we'll have 2 episodes left, and at this point, Aaron hasn't gotten to shore yet, and so I don't know. Like it's just, I think it scares me. Do you guys have any concerns about how much time we have left, given the amount of episodes supposedly left? It could be, again, somebody said something about like it being a movie to end it all off, but I'm just curious y'all's perspective on it, and then we'll start jumping into certain things about this episode that we got to talk about.
I'm not concerned. They're going to do what they do. I think, like you said, every episode is usually some form of a payoff. I think the payoff is going to be so big that they cannot just give you, that whole payoff in one episode. I think those last 3 episodes, or let's call them last 3 episodes, because usually they'll do them in 3s. That's going to they're just going to keep hitting you. They're just going to hit you till it's all done and make you want to go back and watch it. I don't know about this movie thing they're going to do. If they do that, then that's fine. But as far as the series goes and the episode anime, I'm not worried about it.
Yeah. And I mean, I could see them having a big action-packed end and just leaving a few strings untied that would lead off or dovetail off into the movie situation. I could see them possibly taking maybe 1 or 2 of the manga books and making that a movie if the content is right. So that might have been in their plan all along while they were writing it, and they wrote the manga to that effect, such that making it an actual presentable movie is easy to do out of either the last or maybe the last 2 books of the manga. So, and this is me saying it sight unread. I have not seen or read this manga at all.
Yeah, no, I'm in the same boat. I haven't read it, and I don't want to read it. I'm in the same boat as Ty. Like, I don't want to get spoiled by it. I want to let the narrative take me along, but I think because we've been burned with a couple different shows, like, of course, Game of Thrones, Dexter,
famously,
and some other shows that, the final bow is just not tied correctly. But it's like nothing about the show has ever been like a downer, ever. It's never let me down. It's never let me down. So I'm going to continue to put my faith in it, but it's just kind of like I don't know, this episode just wore me down. But anyway, going into the episode, the very first shot, and pull this up right here so y'all can see. I don't know if y'all can see it pretty well, but John had a dream. And I was kind of thrown by it because I don't know for y'all, but to me, this looks like him, Mikasa, and the whole family. And I don't know if this is like his actual dream or if this is his actual future, but where did y'all pull from this? Because it looks like even the location, this doesn't look like the island. It looks like Marley. It looks like the mainland. So what did y'all get from that? Because this kind of felt like this episode was a John-centric episode. I don't know why Gabby was like so pressed. Like, John, we need you. Like, John can't even turn into a Dirt Titan. So I don't. But it felt like there was something deeper there. But what did y'all take from the beginning of it and also his arc in this episode?
It looks like he was in Paris, to tell you the truth. It kind of looks like Paris. What it tells me is my man had a dream of shooting the club up, you know. So I ain't mad at him. So, but that does. I mean, that kind of looks like Mikasa. I'm not sure. I think it's just him dreaming in some way, shape, or form of a better life. But we knew John had a little thing for Mikasa. I guess he never really pursued it because of I guess he knew how she felt pertaining to Eren. So, but that might not be the case now, you know, because of what Eren's doing now, and you know, we're all still theorizing if he done shot up Historia's club. So we don't know. Anything is possible at this point. All bets are off.
Oh my god!
Shoot your shot, John. Shoot your shot.
And what did you think about that moment, and then just John in this episode in general? Because John had a lot of moving parts in this. So
Yeah, man. Yeah, like I'll be honest with you, man. I hadn't really thought a whole lot about John until this episode came through. So it was interesting that they focused on him so much. Yeah, that dream did definitely just kind of confuse me. And I guess it makes sense that somebody in the midst of war would start thinking about, like, okay, if I wasn't in the war, this is where I would be. If there's any way to avoid this war or going further down the path of war, this is what I'm going to fight for, or this is what I'm fighting for. The chance of this being in the future is almost like this was all about John and his motivations in a weird way. So yeah, it did throw me off. It did throw me off how much it was like Gabby and was it what's her name? Just kind of kept saying, "Please, please, please help us! Please help us! We need you to help us!" Like it almost made me feel like his days are numbered. Unfortunately,
right. That's normally how it goes. If this is The Walking Dead, straight up, any character that gets a lot of focus, like you're like, oh man, they about to get knocked down.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I mean, I guess even like taking this moment, this was a really important moment. Like them getting a real revelation about Marco, because we knew, you know, we knew what kind of happened behind the scenes. Like especially if you're paying really close attention, if you rewatch the series, kind of how like he got like thrown to the wolves. But it's different, like it being vocally stated. Like it's all the laundry thrown out there. And it's kind of like everybody's response to it is just like, dang, yeah, we did do that. That's how we really felt, and that's how we still kind of feel. But we don't want y'all to, we don't want Eren to like kill and wipe out everybody. So what do we do with this? And John's response was just beat the heck out of your boy Rainer. But I mean, I think I'm glad that they had that real conversation. Like everybody, like even Annie's involvement and what Annie's been doing, because Annie's been out the game for a long time. Like it's like she's been sidelined, and it's not as though like she's had time to kind of progress, but she technically has. She's paid her penance because she's been in prison. She's heard everything, but she hasn't been able to really interact or grow necessarily through doing anything. So I think that the character progression was really good in this episode, but specifically for John, I'm glad he got that resolution within himself. But I'm with you, Ant. Like I don't know, man. What is the significance of John in y'all's opinion? What does John have to give, really? And that's not shade. I'm just asking. Like,
and I'm being honest, I got nothing, bro. Not like, and I know it's probably Jean fans out there that you know they gonna at me or whatever. I'm like, all right, like let me know, hit me, let me know what he does, what he's done, what his worth is.
Oh, really?
John had one purpose this whole time. That was it. Shoot the club out.
You got one job, bro. One job.
You have one job.
God. Oh man. Oh man. I'm done. Oh,
I will say one thing that was kind of interesting. I know you was gonna bring it up later. I do feel like it might have been a very slight foreshadowing of Annie versus Mikasa again, because I remember they went at it while they were all still cadets.
No, I thought that got squashed. All of a sudden, it stopped.
I thought so too.
Like they never actually had that fight. Because remember, it was like Eren.
I don't think it's over.
Eren was focusing on it, and John was kind of like looking, and then all of a sudden it stopped. I can't remember who came in. I think Levi might have came in and busted it up, but I don't think they ever really had that falling out. And I ain't gonna lie, like I've always kind of been like, they're gonna have it out. And to me, if Mikasa, I mean, I'm gonna say it because I think it'd be dope. If Mikasa ever got that female Titan, she's already a beast in and of herself. But if she ended up with that female Titan, like, I don't really know
Nobody's
anybody that could stop her. Ever.
Nobody's stopping her.
Ever. I don't care who it is. Like,
the question though is, does that make her more susceptible to Eren, or would that make her less susceptible to Eren?
She's half. Like, she's half Eldian and half Marleyan. So I really don't. Well, no, not Marleyan.
Not Marley.
Half Eldian, half whatever her other.
That foreign, yeah.
So I don't know, but I feel like, man, that'd be rough because I think low key, Armin really digging Annie, and then I don't know, man. I don't know. I think that Mikasa would win that fight at the end of the day.
Mikasa would win that fight without being a Titan, with Annie being a Titan.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I think even with Annie being the female Titan, Mikasa would win that fight.
Yeah.
Because if you really think about it, Annie is dope, but she has not quite progressed fighting wise either. Mikasa, on the other hand, has
Annie is actually very good fighting wise. She's just
exactly.
Not Mikasa. That's
right.
It.
Right.
Like Mikasa is a whole other. Like Mikasa is
for the fact that she's half
female Levi. Like you're not touching that.
Right.
Like the only thing stopping Mikasa from being on the same level as Levi is her emotional Ackerman blood attachment to Eren. If she gave no F's, it's a wrap. We're not talking.
Right. So do y'all think Levi is gonna be back in the fight in some capacity before this show ends?
Yes.
Are we gonna see Levi buck? Because this is the thing. Right now, like it's gonna take him some time to heal, but it's not a lot of time unless they do a time jump or something crazy. Like, all right, let's put a hypothetical on this. Say they attempt to try to stop Eren, but they can't. And then just the disbursements of the Wall Titans, they're just going out. And just a little bit of time has passed. How long would it take for those Wall Titans to reach everybody? It would take a good year at least, right? It wouldn't just be an overnight kind of thing. It would take some time to go over all the waters if they disperse evenly.
It depends, because remember, we're not talking about regular you and me. We're talking about entities that are huge, that when they get into the ocean, they're like waist deep. So they're covering a lot of area with every step.
You right.
They're not taking 1 foot steps. They're probably taking some good miles. So they can probably do it in much less time than a year.
Dang. That's crazy, bro. I think visually I'm waiting for that moment of when they hit the ocean. Or no, better yet, when they hit mainland. If it happens. I still think it's gonna happen. This show is too unforgiving for them not to reach mainland.
They're gonna hit mainland. The question is though, who's gonna go? And then the thing is, my question is, what happens when Annie finds out about her dad?
Yeah, her dad's already dead.
Right. Like, how's she gonna be with that?
Is she gonna even care? Really?
Right.
Yeah, because her sole purpose in this whole thing, her sole purpose in fighting against Eren is to save her dad.
Right.
She didn't even talk about the other people. She just said her dad. When she finds out they killed her dad, she might just let that dude roll.
Right. All right. So, closing thoughts of this. What do we rate this episode?
Man, I'm gonna give it a solid 8.5. Like, just just because it's like we are kind of hoping for a little bit more action. And yes, it was filler. It was good. It was still good filler, but it was filler.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I think had it not been filler after filler after filler after filler after filler, it might have been a little bit more. It might have been a higher what's the name, but yeah.
Right. Yeah, what about you, Ty?
So I agree with Chitty in terms of the reasoning. However, that reasoning led me to a 7, not an 8.
Fair.
Because I think it's a solid 7 because it's still a good filler. They clear up a lot of things. They even bring back some names and people we haven't talked about in a while. Like we haven't touched on Marco in God knows how long.
Right.
And I think it's now all the dirty laundry is being aired. So I like that, but I think because, like Chitty said, it came after filler after filler after filler after filler. It's kind of like, at this point, we're just ready to see we're ready to see, you know, the firefight. We're ready to see the beef go down. We're ready to see who's gonna come out on top of this whole situation. So I for me, it's a 7.
Right. My immediate thought was a 7. I could possibly give it a 7.5 just because, honestly, truthfully, like I feel like I'm maxed out on filler. But it was a solid episode because it was really a vital, important character-based episode. It was just, I mean, there's no action in it whatsoever. It was some very interesting proposals and conversations, but nothing about the main narrative. And I got to deal with my own worry and concern about how many episodes are going to be left. One thing I was going to bring up to you guys is the very end outro. We were talking about it briefly and how like it looked like Paradise, but it looked like time had passed over, you know, like it looked kind of like corroded and stuff like that. And I think we looked at the episode like on Thursday night where it was like the original Ymir. Ymir stayed in her Titan form for 60 years. Was that right?
Yeah, not you talking about Ymir,
like Ymir, the
original
other
Jaw Titan.
the fake, yeah, correct.
Okay, I thought you were talking about Ymir, you know, Pathways Ymir, like right. OG Ymir. But yeah, so, she was a Titan for like 60 years before she ate dude and became one of the 9.
Right. So my thinking is that technically Eren has 4 years or 2 years, he said left? 4 years?
Yeah, 4 years.
What if he just stayed in Titan form for an extended amount of time? If he stayed in the fountain,
he absolutely could do that. He absolutely, because like that whole idea of 13 years was brought up by one of the past kings, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it wasn't the original situation. So he, as a founding Titan, could say, "Guess what? 13 years, that's done. If you're a Titan, you can be one."
if he really wanted to, I guess.
I honestly think now that he has the founding Titan, the attack Titan, now he has a couple Titans.
Yes, some vicious ones too.
And the thing is, if we're talking about the euthanization that Zeke was originally trying to do, who's to say, like you said, that Eren can't just change that whole thing out? Like he could stop the whole 13-year requirement. Matter of fact, he can probably just stop everybody from being Titans. You know, he can basically, who's to say he can't extract those Titans and just basically get rid of them and get rid of the founding attack and the Warhammer. Who's to say he can't get rid of the whole entire thing?
Right, because he's the coordinate. And even before he even had the founding Titan, just off of a yell and connecting, he was able to stop and maneuver Titans to the direction that he wanted. So it's like, realistically here, when they go and they are intercepting Eren, he doesn't even have to lift a finger. All he has to do is really speak. And Rainer, Annie, anybody else that's a Titan, really, he can put them down, right?
Yeah, because actually now if we're not mistaken, you can add the Beast Titan to his possession, so he can control them no different than you know, there's one thing where, you know, he's the coordinate and he's directing them at something, but now being able to fully control them, You know, and him having all these different titans within him, I mean, he can probably just stop this whole thing cold. You know,
right?
Which is why I'm wondering how they're going to even be able to stop him.
That's what I'm saying.
Kill him. They would just have to try to appeal to his humanity. But other than that, they can't do anything to stop him. If they were to try to fight him, who's to say he can't just turn off their stuff?
Right. And is it, I mean, do y'all really believe that Eren really wants to do this at this point? Like, are y'all sold that this is what Eren's motivation, this is what he really wants? Or are y'all thinking there's something else going on that we just cannot see just yet?
Look, man, honestly, I think back to how Eren's father basically said, you know, it was Eren all along, and how Eren has this ability to be able to go in the past and manipulate folk in the past. I can't help but think that he might have even possibly egged on his younger self to kill those thieves initially. Like, this might go that far back. So, man, I don't know, man. I don't know. It seems like he is set on his path, wholly and totally set on his path, because he feels like that's the only way. And the only way they're going to sway his mind is if they can present another way that is as strong and as capable and as possible to bring to fruition as his plan, which is happening already.
You know what? This is even more weird. And I know, Ty, you about to bring this up, but he kept Gabby alive. He kept Rainer alive. He could have killed them even before. And instead, he kind of let them go. And it's kind of like everything that he's been doing is systematic. So it's kind of like he knew they all had to be together for whatever the reason is for the next progression of this. Even Gabby, which is so crazy. But I don't know, Ty, what were your thoughts? And I guess we'll end out.
No, I mean, yeah, I think like Eren's father said, Eren's in control of this whole situation. He's going to get what he wants. I think there's an underlying secret or something going on to exactly what he wants. Mm-hmm. But I think no matter what happens, he's going to get what he wants in the end, whatever that may be.
Well, this is going to be interesting. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're going to close out because we got to attend to our children. We're going. Hopefully y'all enjoy our yes. And I guess we'll be back next week. I guess it's not a week hiatus. So when we find out more information, we'll talk to y'all about it. Maybe in another video. True. Peace, people.
Peace.
Filing out the top of
I can see the skyline, 50 mile radius on my timeline. Ain't nothing.